Hello, hello. It is day 88 of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. It is July 19th, 2024. And what I want to talk about today is kind of a continuation of yesterday, as more messages came through, more clarity came through, and so on. So I was talking in my unofficial mastermind with Jess and Kelly. I was talking about the messages that I received yesterday. And because I got figured it out so late at night that I wasn't going to sit there and start writing out my intentions and all of that. I decided I was going to do it today. And as I was talking to Jess in particular, Kelly just wasn't there at the moment, but as I was talking to her, some realizations came up. So first of all, when I made the energetic decision to take some time out today and set my intentions for all of my life and get really clear on them and all of that, I could feel energetically on, whatever you want to call it, the other side in the shamanic realms, like whatever. This depends on how you feel about it, what you believe, all of that. But energetically, I could feel this maelstrom of all my intentions just waiting to burst through. All of the things that I had thought about that I wanted, the reference that I used and that maybe most people would be comfortable with or have heard of is Abraham Hicks said, or calls it the vortex, right? Your vortex of intentions and all of the things that you have wanted, all of the desires and thoughts and all of that. We are creators, right? We create in the energetic realms. And so all of it goes into this vortex of intention, and it just sits there waiting for us to be aligned with it, right? As soon as we become aligned with it, then it can come into the 3D world, into reality, or our reality, let's just say. So I could actually feel that on the other side of whatever this, if it's a veil or whatever. But I could feel it was just like I said, it was like a maelstrom. And that was, again, that feels the same like the word vortex, right? It's just this huge, energetic, like just tornado sort of like the energy just whirling and swirling and whatever of all of my intentions just waiting to burst through. And I could sense it. It was like my guides at the door, like the entrance between that vortex and this 3D world, going, we don't know what to let through. We don't know what to send you. You're not aligned with any of it because you're not being intentional, right? Like it was just like, we're waiting. And that's why I've been getting these messages. And I realized that subconsciously, and now this was not my conscious mind whatsoever, but subconsciously, it's like I was feeling like I could choose something wrong, like I could make the wrong choice about what to let through, or like if I chose, I wouldn't get another chance to choose. And this, I think, is fairly common as well. So I wanted to mention it, that we get to choose again and again and again and again and again. If we call something in and it comes and we're like, oh, that's actually not what I want, we get to say that. We get to change our minds. We get to say, oh, yeah, no, I know I said that, but this is not actually what I thought it would be like. And this is what I want instead. And then something else gets to come in. We get endless opportunities to choose and to allow something different. And on top of all of that, and some people won't like this answer, for me it's a good thing. I like to learn. But every single thing that comes through, whether it ends up being exactly what we wanted or not, is a learning opportunity, right? We get to learn from it and learn more about what we do want and what we don't want. And we get to base our behaviors, our alignment actions, all of that on the clarity that we receive as things come through. But if we don't let anything through because we feel like, oh, if I don't choose the exact right thing, or, oh, I don't, if I choose and it's wrong, then I'm screwed and I just have to live with that result forever. Just put it in the right words and now I can't think of them, but like basically it's that belief that so many of us were raised with, that like this is it. You make your bed, you lie in it, right? No, actually, like that's really outdated thinking. You make your bed and it doesn't feel comfortable, get back out and make it again, right? Like that's the new, more updated, more current way of thinking. That's the more aligned way of thinking. It's really much more powerful and much more effective as far as manifestation goes. Pardon me. And it blows my mind when I am having these realizations, how quickly it trickles out into my circles, my world, the people in my world. So that might look like family, that might look like friends, that might look like clients, right? So I'm having all of these realizations yesterday and today, and I'm talking to a client and they're having the exact same issues. She was talking about being offered a position and how it wasn't great, but she was thinking she should maybe say yes just in case and then keep looking until that position starts. And I was like, no, because what you want to do is when your spirit team brings you the result that they think you want based on what you've said before, like, I want a job, I want to be making money, I want to be, right? All of these things. When you haven't been very clear, I'm sorry, it's getting smoky here. So now my cough is being triggered again. But when you haven't been very clear about what it is that you want, if you've just said, I want to be making more money, cool. They're going to bring you what they think is an answer to your manifestation, what they think is aligned to what you're calling in. So then they bring you this job offer and you're like, oh, that's kind of icky. That's not really what I want, but I was calling in more money, so I better say yes. No, because if you do that, then it's like telling them, yep, you did a good job, wash your hands, like you can walk away. And instead, what you can do is be like, thank you. I see that you've brought me this result. However, I wasn't clear enough. And now I know that I want a job that does not include XYZ. And when you do that, then they'll go, oh, okay. They're not going to be offended, right? Your spirit team doesn't take offense to you changing your mind or to getting more clear. But you can just say, thank you, but here's my more specific details of what I want. And they'll go out and they'll find that again. When you say no, you actually give them the clarity so that they can bring you what you want, so that they can bring you that perfectly aligned manifestation. And you can say no again and again and again. They'll bring it. You say no. You tell them more specifically what you want. They'll bring it again, right? And that is, or they'll bring something new. They'll bring something better. They'll bring something closer to your end result that you're desiring. And then as you continue to do that, you will get to a point where you're like, oh, yes, this is amazing. This is exactly what I want. And then you can do a holy hell yes, right? And that is how you manifest your exact desires. That is how you give your spirit team the clarity. Because a lot of the time when we go to set our intentions, we're like, okay, I think I'm clear enough. Set those out, say, this is what I'm calling in, hand it over to my spirit team, and then, be open to receive it. And then as it comes in, we're like, oh, I wasn't clear enough, right? But that doesn't mean you screwed up. It just means that now you're getting more clarity. And the faster that you say, no, this isn't perfect, I would like this instead, please, the faster a new result comes in and you get to your desired manifestation faster. So very, very powerful, right? And these are things that like I have the concepts of, but I'm really learning to integrate these into my knowing, into my psyche, right? So very, very powerful. But I love how my stuff trickles immediately to my clients. And then the insights that I'm having as I'm having them, like right away, I'm able to then share those so that I can support my clients with those. And it's just such a testament to how when you're constantly learning and growing, your clients level up with you, right? The people that you're serving come with you. The people in your life, your friends, your family, the people around you up level with you. And the ones that don't, that aren't ready for it, will fall away, and it will be painless if you are staying in alignment with what's true to you. So if you're saying those no's when they're not aligned, if you're saying yes when it is, right, then the right people will stay and the ones who are not aligned will go away. So super powerful. And then the other thing that came out of today, so I actually did spend quite a bit of time setting my intentions that I was being told to set. So I did do that. And one of the things that came out of that was needing to get really clear on my budget, on my finances, and making sure that everything is in line and that I know what's so, and so on. So I did that today. And uh, one of the things that helped me to know that that was something I needed to focus on, obviously, was that I did do my taxes. I submitted my taxes, but they didn't make it in time for my government benefits to come through this month. And those government benefits are usually what pays my rent. So I, or like they're the equivalent amount, right? So something else might go towards paying my rent, but that is like the amount of my rent. So for it to not come in is like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do? This month is going to be hard to get the rent paid, all of that. And I had already had that extension from last month's rent, or from the beginning of July, and then gone past that date and had said that I would pay it when these benefits came in. And now these benefits didn't come in. And I was like, oh my gosh, like everything is exploding around me financially again. Here we go again. It was those feelings of doom and gloom until I set all my intentions, got really, really clear, got really aligned with them so that those things are ready to come in. And let me tell you, like what's coming is amazing. And when I went through and did my budget, when I went through and got really clear on what's so with my money, I was like, okay, it's not that bad. Like I'm only short a couple $100s at this point to pay my rent. So I can probably borrow that off my mom and get the July 1st rent paid so that that's out of the way. That's not hanging over my head, so on and so on. And, and then I looked at, like, I put down everything for the next year. When is money guaranteed to come in? Like, not counting on business income too much just because it can fluctuate, right? Because it can be up and down. Not that I don't believe that it's coming, I do, but just because I don't have those amounts guaranteed in a lot of cases, or, even my recurring monthly payments, those can go away. Like people can decide to cancel their subscriptions or their memberships, right? And that's okay. And I'm totally fine with it when that happens. It's like, okay, you're ready to move on to the next thing, or you're, just not in a position to stay, or whatever, and that's okay. But going through and laying out, okay, what are all the government benefits that are going to come in all the way, like they measure it from July to June is their yearly thing. So you get your taxes in, and it will determine how much you are paid out in benefits from the following July until the following June. So all my numbers were up. They just weren't going to make it. I just didn't get them submitted soon enough for the first payments to come through in July. So those ones are doubled up in August, but they're just not going to be here in time for rent. So when I could look at it all and have it all laid out and all my expenses in one place and all of that, I was able to see like, okay, I mean, I already owe my mom a lot of money and I'm borrowing this couple hundred off her again. And, all of those things. And she's a teacher. So over the summer, she doesn't have a paycheck. She is like on pause, right? She just doesn't get paid for the summer. And she's smart with her money. Like she sets money aside for that and everything. But with me borrowing big amounts off her, like that can really affect her bottom line as far as what she has set aside for herself for the summer, for her bills and everything for the summer. So I've been really hesitant to ask her, right, to borrow. And that's why I let my rent stay due for so long. Otherwise I would have asked her. And even why I asked for an extension, because she had told me before, like, don't do that anymore. Just, ask me and then pay me back once the money comes in, and, all of that kind of thing. And I just didn't want to ask her over the summer. So I asked for the extension. And anyway, I decided to risk it. But this time, instead of just sort of like can I borrow this? And, an open-ended, like, this is what's going to be coming back to you and when. Instead of that, I was able to say, these payments are coming on these dates and I can pay you this much. And I actually will be able to pay her back in full, which is like $4,500 after borrowing for rent for August 1st. Like, it's a lot of money, and I will have it all paid back by the end of August because I sat with my budget. I laid it down and was like, okay, what is absolutely necessary? What is not, right? What payments are coming in? And when you're intentional with your money and you're not just letting like whatever come out of your account whenever, and you pay things on time and you don't have late fees and all of that, all of a sudden more money opens up, right? So part of it was absolutely just that, like, because my income was so low last year, my benefits are a lot higher this year. Next year, they'll be a lot lower again because I am making more this year, right? So it's always in flux, but it is going to be more than enough for me to catch up financially without having to rely on child support, although child support will still obviously support me in buying groceries, buying, all of these things. And business also will just continue to take that above and beyond. I will be able to start including savings. I will be able to start paying off, things that went to collections before. And I will be able to really just get my life in order. And having like those bigger payments come in before I did, pick some things off of the list so that there was less things to be worrying about financially. So my debt, my owing, like all of that is being cut down, is being whittled down. So I may still be in the, a little bit of like, what's the word I want to use? Just like not necessarily a scary position, but like just an unknown position financially for a little while, in forward facing, right? As far as like, it's like living paycheck to paycheck kind of a feeling, because there are just so many things to pay that a lot of things are not just like, I don't just have money that sits a lot of the time. Although what I am going to do is, the first opportunity available, I will be setting some money aside into my savings account just to sit there, even if it's like $100, just because I know that having money sit there and not be touched brings more money. Like it literally, it's when you spend every cent that you sort of get into this cycle of always not having something sitting there. So, I will be doing that also as soon as possible, but getting really clear, and sorry, like for going super into like details of finances, but that is when you take that time to do that. And I know some people are probably sitting here going like, oh my gosh, you didn't have this basic handle on your finances. And no, I didn't, because, one, I am ADHD and this is like just my least favorite thing in the world to do, and I avoid it like the plague. Um, and I literally hire an accountability coach for it and still fight doing it, still fight doing my budget. And reconciling transactions and all of these kinds of things, and getting my taxes done, and almost every year getting my taxes done late, so that I end up getting screwed with these payments. And it's like, come on, haven't you learned? Haven't you? But it's really one of those things that, like, my ADHD flares up so bad that I resist it so hard. And honestly, the fact that, like, I was able to get the drive, the motivation, all of that to get my taxes done and get my budget done and all of that, and like get clear on what's so with my finances all within 1 month is mind blowing. So that is huge progress as far as, having suspended disbelief that I can get all of this done, that I can do all of these things, that I'm capable, that I'm, all of that. And as soon as possible, P.S., I'm hiring this out. I hate doing this stuff. But it is obviously very important. um, and, and yeah, so, and a lot of people might even be listening going like, well, of course your finances are a mess. You weren't clear on this. Like, duh, what you like, and no, like I wasn't. This is one area that I really struggle in. And we all have our areas that we struggle in, and this is just one of mine. So, not using that as an excuse to just let myself off the hook for doing it, but it is the explanation for why, things have gotten so bad. And when you combine it with, the financial position that I've been in over the last couple of years after leaving my husband, and that fight or flight sort of energy that I've been in around it, I really have gotten into fight or flight anytime that I thought about doing my finances, anytime that I thought about doing my budget or thought about doing my taxes. It was just like, that's too big and scary. And I just panicked, right? I put it off. So, very, very grateful to have that done, number one. And for any of you who struggle similarly to me, just know that when you do it, it's not as bad as you think. And you actually end up being like, oh, there's more money than I thought. And I just haven't been designating it properly, right? So it's a very powerful thing to do. If you're like me and you haven't been, then I highly recommend doing it. And that's not to say that I think that this is like, oh, I'm never going to have this problem again in my life, because I've had this realization before and I've still had this problem. But I am getting financially to the point where I very well may be able to just hire someone to do some of the more mundane tasks around it, so that my input into all of this is less, right? Is not quite as much requirement, because and also because if somebody else is working on certain tasks for it and I'm hiring that out, then me not taking action on a specific task may hold up somebody else's work. And when it gets to that, when it's like, that's the situation, I'm like, oh, no problem. And I get it done in a heartbeat, right? Like it just, I don't like to hold up somebody else's work. So when it's just me, I'm not that way, right? I'm like, it's fine. I'll do it later. But when it's somebody else, I get right on it. So very much looking forward to that. And also very much looking forward to not owing my mom this giant sum of money, not being behind on bills or rent anymore, and starting to pay off a lot of this credit and stuff that is hanging over my head, right? That is sort of like this constant doom cloud that just makes me feel like, things are hard and there's never enough money, and that if I'm buying something even small, like even like a $20 thing that's just for fun or that's just because I want it, I feel guilty because I'm like, there's creditors that I owe money to, things like that. So just so looking forward to that shift in my life, and suspending disbelief that it's coming very, very quickly, but I barely even have to suspend disbelief about it because I have this concrete evidence in front of my face. Now, I do know that little shifts and things can change with finances and all of that. And that's where I'm suspending disbelief that like, nope, this budget that I wrote out, this amount that I wrote out, like everything is safe. Everything is as it's supposed to be. No horrendous, huge expenses are going to get thrown in my path and throw this off, this plan that I've made. Everything is great and is working out, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and my success is inevitable. And it's actually this or something better, because I didn't even include business income. So as I make sales in my business, they're just adding to the overflow, to the extra that I have. And that is a huge sigh of relief, is what that feels like. That feels amazing. So I feel like I've come so far, even though in my 3D, like immediate right here life, it doesn't feel like, oh, I've got, so much extra money in the bank and all of this stuff. It still feels like, okay, I have made monumental progress financially since the beginning of this suspending disbelief journey. And it has been less than 100 days. So I am actually day 88. Oh, day 88. If you know anything about numerology, eights are like abundance big time. They are, they're like the infinity symbol almost, right? So it's like, wow, that's really interesting that I'm having these realizations on day 88. Interesting. Okay. I think that is all that I wanted to share for today. I know this episode's a little bit longer and I've been trying to keep them shorter lately, but I just felt like this stuff is so important. And that, many of the women who are women or men, for this, it could be either, right? But for many of the people who are following this, who are listening to this, who are suspending disbelief, they are probably doing that, not necessarily, they could be at a different level, but they're probably doing that because they want to get out of a level that they don't feel good in, right? So I feel like some of these insights might be very powerful and helpful. So I just wanted to make sure that I share them. But anyways, that is what I have for you today, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.